Renault has a pretty extensive history when it comes to producing cars. It's made some of the most loved and iconic vehicles in automotive history, but its history includes aviation. Most specifically, the Rafale, which was a record-breaking plane back in the 30s, and it lends its name to this, the company's newest SUV. It's also its most luxurious SUV to date. That model has an all-new look as well, which you can see in the front here. It's a very different front end than we're used to seeing in Renault, and this is going to introduce a new chapter of design language. We've already seen that new logo. It appeared on the Megane E-Tech, but you now have this really interesting new grille design. I say grille, it's not really a grille. All the air goes in this lower section. What they've done is created this kind of grille effect that as you look across the front of the car, you'll see that blue color come out from behind the black. Gives it a really unusual dynamic look, and it's certainly going to be a thing that's going to catch people's eyes. Almost all versions will have that blue background, but on other colors, such as when you have a red car, it'll have a gray background, but it'll always have this gloss black kind of detailing that's made up of the Renault diamond. It's really unusual, it's a little bit different, and it really does serve to separate this from the other models in the range, specifically the Renault Astral. So this has a negative kind of concave finish, whereas the Astral is a totally different look. But you'll also see, when you come in a little bit closer, you'll see on the headlights, they have a very technical look here. Again, the Renault diamond is in there, but they've also put this kind of holographic film on the base of the lights as well. It gives it a very unusual and distinctive appearance, as do these LED daytime running lights here as well. This kind of broken up design looks almost like half of the Renault logo itself. It's not quite the point of it, but it's all about giving Renaults a much more distinctive face as they come down the road towards you. Now, those angles also continue all the way along the car. It's an interesting mix of curves and sharp lines. It's got pretty nice aerodynamically optimized 20-inch wheels here. You've got gloss black cladding around the wheel arches and of course along the sill across the base of the car. You also get contrasting black mirrors on this Esprit Alpine version. But where it gets quite interesting with the design is all around the door area here. You've got this kind of negative space again, which kind of means it kind of curves in, gives it a bit of a distinctive look, but you've got a lot of lines going on here. It brings it back down into a sharp point in the rear door. You still get proper door handles. You've got this sloping roof line then across the back. So this comes down to a 17-degree angle here on the rear window. And you can kind of make out these kind of 3 points again, bringing all the focus back to the rear end of the car. It's very much kind of cut off as well. When you look at the back, you'll see how there isn't an active spoiler, but how that comes out and then cuts back in. Gives this pretty distinctive look, and it's, well, there's a lot of people making coupe SUVs, this kind of thing. And what Renault have done with this is really done a good balance of curves and sharp lines to make it stand out a bit more from the competition. The rear lights, you can see, kind of mimic what we see on the front DRLs, but they're kind of switched 90 degrees so they're horizontal, and that helps give a little bit more of a sense of width to the back of the car. Again, there's a lot of those really cool lines I talked about. You've got the Renault logo here, but also the Rafale name. This is a new kind of type font. They've never really done badges like this before, and it kind of just shows how Renault is doing things a little bit differently with this car. Now, even though this has a sloping tailgate on the back, there is still quite a good amount of boot space in there. So it is still going to be quite a practical car in that sense too. The interior of this car feels every bit as luxurious as the Rafale makes out to be. There's some really great touches in here. The design, first of all, it's similar to what we've already seen in the latest models. So you have this fully digital instrument display in front of you and a vertical portrait style touchscreen here in the center. It's all Android based, so it runs your Google Maps, everything like that. It's all the latest stuff that you'd expect to find. And actually in this version, Renault has updated that software even more so. They've got 4 distinct modes that you can have it in, but there's also a lot of customization available, and it does start to learn your habits as well. So if you find that you're always doing the same sort of things in this car, it maybe will stop warning you about certain things or stop telling you certain things because it begins to learn your actual behavior. As for the actual layout, you've got physical buttons here on the bottom. That's a really good thing. Love having that because it makes it very easy to adjust the temperature when you're on the move. You've also got everything here on the steering wheel. This is a new design steering wheel that we've seen on Renault models, and on this Esprit Alpine version, it gets a little bit different. It's got some suede-like inserts on the bottom. It's got that kind of tricolore, red, white and blue French flag stitching on it, and that continues across the door as well. You've got a lot of high-end materials in here, including real slate here on this armrest, and that also carries forward onto this section on the dashboard as well. Really unusual. It looks and feels great. You've got a lot of space in here as well. You've got big cup holders here, lots of storage space, charge ports everywhere, wireless charging here on top, more space underneath here. And there's a lot of other really nice details throughout. You have ambient lighting running across the dashboard and in through the doors here. You've got this kind of metal finish here as well. So it really does feel very high quality in here. And also the seats are new for this model, and they have this kind of blue backing to behind the Alcantara. So the holes kind of get progressively bigger in the fabric as it runs down. It gives it a very nice finish when you look at it. And even the Alpine logo in the seats is illuminated. So when you unlock the car at night, it glows and you can see it glowing from the inside. Lots of very neat touches. There's actually a whole lot more that we're not even going to get time to cover here today, but one other feature I do want to highlight is the glass roof, which has an opaque finish, and it can change at the touch of a button, meaning that you can have it partly uncovered, fully uncovered, and it can even do it intelligently as well to maintain cabin temperature. So many cool features in this thing. This is very much a high-tech Renault in every sense of the word, and the materials inside are top-notch. In the rear, there is acres of space in here. A big part of the fact that this shares the same sort of platform as the larger Renault Espace means that there's no shortage of room back here. I have absolute acres of leg room here. For reference, I'm about 5'8", so I'm a fairly average height, but I can stretch out in front here with my arms, my legs. I can get my feet in underneath the seat in front. I've got a center console here, which is obviously just pops down if you're not using the middle seat, and maybe not everyone will because there is a little bit of a transmission tunnel here. But when you have this down, you've got loads of space. There's extra storage under here. It's a nice armrest. You've got cup holders, but also you have these kind of pop-out features which are specifically designed for putting either a tablet in or your phone. If you want to watch your own media in the background, you can do that as well. Really interesting feature. It's something that's a little bit different. You've also still got 2 USB-C charge points back here. You've got rear vents, so you can have everything you want back here. It is a very luxurious feeling back here. Lots of nice supporting seats. There's, as I mentioned, tons of room. I've got really good visibility. There's enough space between the front seats here because the car is a little bit wider than an Astral. It means I can see out very, very well. And I have that amazing glass roof that I talked about earlier as well. So you've got all that. It's currently opaque, so you can't see out, but you can literally either voice control it from back here, or the driver at the touch of a button can make that go clear either fully or partially. Pretty interesting feature. And for a car that has such a kind of rakish rear roofline, I have loads of headroom here. No complaints in that department whatsoever. When the Rafale comes out, there will be 2 different powertrain options. There will be a 1.2 litre full hybrid with 200 horsepower, and that will be followed by a 300 horsepower hybrid, which will include Renault's 4Control system, which is permanent 4-wheel drive. That will also include rear wheel steering on that version, and that will allow this car to turn the rear wheels in the opposite direction to the front wheels by up to 5 degrees, giving this car the same turning circle as what you would find from a much smaller Renault Clio. At higher speeds, it will also turn the wheels in the same direction as the front wheels by up to 1 degree to give a more controlled and balanced handling when you're changing lane or at higher speeds in corners. So that's our first look around the all-new Renault Rafale. It's going to arrive in 2024, and in the meantime, if you want to know any more about it, head over to our website. It's CompleteCar.ie. You'll find it linked in the description below, and it's a great resource for finding your next new car. In the meantime, if you've enjoyed the video and watched it this far, why not give it a thumbs up? But more importantly, let us know what you think about this car in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.